So the Boeing employees are humiliated after NASA announced that these two astronauts who they took up to the International Space Station now have to come back an alternate way using their rival, SpaceX. So what happened was that NASA sent these two astronauts, Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams, up on the inaugural flight of their Starliner, which was meant to be their new transport to and from the space station and beyond. But once they got up there, there were some problems, and there was a helium leak, and NASA had to decide whether this starcraft was going to be able to come back safely through the atmosphere or whether it was going to pose a great danger to these two astronauts. NASA finally decided over the weekend that no, this Starliner was not going to be fit to transport two humans back to Earth. So they had to call on Boeing's primary rival, which is SpaceX. And that has sent shockwaves among all the Boeing employees. They say they're embarrassed, they're humiliated, they're horrified. They even said it's just like their worst enemy is having to bail them out, to the point where a lot of these engineers, a lot of these payload specialists, all these people who work for Boeing are now thinking, is it time for us to jump ship? Because Boeing has had all these problems lately, including a dozen whistleblowers, a couple of them which have ended up dead. And adding all that together to this really public embarrassment that their first space mission on this Starliner has been such a failure. For their part, Boeing's really not talking publicly about it. They're not saying, gee, we screwed up. In fact, their basic party line is, there's really nothing to see here. We think that this Starliner is fine, that people can come back safely. But NASA doesn't believe it. And what NASA doesn't want is two dead astronauts. So NASA is going the cautious route, and that is sending shockwaves among the Boeing executives. So we will see what happens with the NASA and Boeing contracts going forward with this. This is a really great thing for SpaceX. It's a really terrible thing for Boeing. And for NASA, they're just trying to keep these two astronauts safe. So these two astronauts were supposed to be on an 8-day mission, and now they're in the second month of it, and they have 6 more months to go. So they're going to be in space for 8 months for a mission that was supposed to take just about a week. So this is a massive deal for Boeing. It's a setback for them, it's embarrassing for them, and it's really going to make NASA have to think twice before they send other astronauts up using Boeing spacecraft.